Hi, everyone. My name is Mel Robertson, and I want to welcome you to the Dare to Dream Bigger Summit, where you're going to learn how to harness the power of creation, get clear about your desires, and bring your biggest dream into reality. Today, I've chose a very special expert for you. Her name is Shellie Hunt, and I want to tell you why I chose her. I personally chose her because I resonated with her desire to serve humanity from a very young age. And I feel that you're going to love her because she knows the precise how-tos for success to help you bring your biggest dream into reality. Shellie, welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Would you mind giving our listeners a little bit more about your background and where you've come from?
Sure. I grew up in Boston, Massachusetts, literally under a house, to a single mother who worked three jobs and met Bob Proctor approximately the age of 6 or 7, right in there, more like 6. Met him, Tom Wilhite, Alexander Everett, kind of the group of what you would call the next wave of human potential. And, I used to talk about things about humanity, and I wondered these questions about energy and all of these things. And my mom was so sweet. I love my mom, and she hates that I say this, but I'll say it anyway. She kind of looked at me and said, "Shh, you don't really talk about those things too openly." And I was like, "But why?" And she said, "Because people will think you're a little whacked." But I came in always feeling like there was a higher purpose of why I was here. And those gentlemen saw it. And so they took me in, and I understudied and mentored with them, with Alexander Everett, and learned about humanity and learned about oneness and acceptance and really a lot of human latent programming that carries us through our lives.
Human latent programming. Tell us more about that.
Well, human latent programming would be the things that we digest from our experiences. So you could have two twins and they grow up in a house and they go through the exact same experiences. Let's just say they were exact same experiences. Like, they just, everywhere they went together. And yet the way that we digest things is totally different as individuals. And so human latent programming can be positive and serve us, or it can not serve us. I hate to use the word negative, right, because I don't ever think it's negative. I think those things that happen to us that we experience are learning processes in this, because I think this is like a life journey.
Yes.
This is a soul lesson to be here on planet Earth and experience, the Earth suit and, the expansion of our understandings in our soul. And so, anyways, getting back to what you asked, that's really how I started to understand human latent programming. And what it does is it either can expand us and launch us into our dreams or hold us back. And, it's what may have served us at one time. What I see a lot with people is there are certain things that serve them at one time. And then they live their entire life operating that way and wondering why they haven't gotten the adult results that they wanted or the next phase of their life results, whether it be relationships, money, just happiness, peace of mind, and really launching into their purpose here on this planet. Yeah. So, I mean, there's so many things I could go over about human latent programming. I see it all the time. I mean, I see people that, make $1,000 a month and you take them to $5,000 a month. They're still living paycheck to paycheck. And why is that? It's because of their programming.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I feel I'm either contracting or I'm expanding into something more.
Well, I think everybody does that. I think one of the things that I think we do is we climb and then, all of a sudden it's like we plateau and then we'll climb or we'll decline, however it goes. Either way, there's a plateau in the middle. And it's funny because when we're in the plateau, we think there's something wrong with that.
Right.
And sometimes the plateau can look like everything's just going kind of okay, and we're not going to change things. We're comfortable. Sometimes the plateau can look like you've been going 100 miles an hour, and now it feels like you're not going at all. But you are. But you are. We can't go 100 miles an hour all the time. We're in an earth suit. We will literally burn up. Some people call it burnout.
Right.
And so, I think the plateau, sometimes plateaus are problems that hit us. And we think we're declining. And the truth is we're not. We're having this great life experience gift for us to learn to go to the next level. So I never look at when I get hit with problems or life circumstance at times, right? The things that are put in our path that we could perceive as negative, as stumbling blocks, as holding back. I think all of that is a lesson for us to go to the next level.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And how do you use that lesson to go to the next level? How would our listeners be able to do that?
Well, I think some of our human latent programming, what happens is with that is we'll face a lesson and say we're starting a business. We're starting something new, and it's always awkward. That is like my least favorite thing, is to start something new. It's like working out, you're like at the gym, right?
All this resistance.
But I think going into things with the perception of it's all a gift. It's all a gift no matter what happens. And so our human latent programming could say, I'm going to start this business, and all of a sudden this wall comes up. And I see it as a wall, and my human latent programming, and I see this with people, they actually talk themselves out of going any further towards it.
Yep.
They actually talk themselves out of it. Okay, well, I don't have this, I don't have that, I can't do this, I can't do that. When I have this, then I'll have that, or when I have that, then I'll have this. And they literally talk themselves out of it instead of, what is here for me to learn? What is the opportunity here for me to expand and bust through? And, so I think it comes back to, what is our automatic response pattern and inner dialogue when those things show up to us?
Right. Do we
and I always say, is this an obstacle? It's an opportunity. Even sometimes when I have to go, this is an opportunity.
Exactly.
And so it really has to do with how you're training yourself to respond. 10% of everything we do has to do with what happens to us.
Right.
Life. 90% of everything is how we react to it. And so it's, how do you, first off, being aware, how do I react when obstacles come in? Do I freeze? Do I run? Do I talk myself out of it? What is the inner dialogue that goes on in my head? All these things. And, recognizing it. Because we all have it. It's just different for all of us, but we all have the inner dialogue. We all have that inner voice that talks to us. And that's where I said, does it serve you or does it not serve you? And then, if it doesn't serve you, then make a conscious effort to switch it. And go, okay, this is an opportunity. What do I get to learn here? What do I get to expand on? Even sometimes when it feels like you're Gumby and you're like being really stretched with the obstacles, and you're like, wow, I don't know why this is happening. Because we all ask ourselves, why is this happening? Pretty much, and do we go victim to it, or do we realize that 90% is how we react to things?
And can we surrender?
Absolutely. I have to say, I've never really liked that word surrender. I do like flow and the path. I've never been one. I hear surrender and I'm like, oh, surrender? What do you mean surrender? But that's my connotation to it. See, that's the programming.
Right, absolutely.
And to most people, if I said, ho, 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 Merry, most say Christmas.
Yep.
So it's, what are those automatic response patterns, and I always have a response pattern to that word myself. But you do. It is being in the path and being in your flow on the path.
Yeah, you
And
have
that
to
doesn't mean everything always goes right. Sometimes it means there's these things that we're meant to be gifted with in learning.
yes.
I remember when I started my first business, and we did okay, but we just didn't break the ceiling. And I was like, wow, why? What am I learning here? And when I walked away, I went, wow, I learned this and this and this and this and this. Most people, if they hit a stumble, what they view as a fail, they look at everything they did wrong.
Right.
And you spend all this energy on what you did wrong instead of, well, what did I learn? Because I never start over. I'm just going on. I'm just moving forward. And that's that whole plateau to the climb, to the plateau, to the climb.
Yeah. It's all just, it's a continuous process. And it's
It
beautiful.
always is. It always is. It's an ebb and a flow. Most definitely.
Absolutely. So, how did you in your personal life overcome like the resistance and obstacles that you had and that we all have to facing the challenges that we have to answer our own calling?
It's very interesting. I think that every person feels, or not even feels, knows their higher calling here on the face of this planet. And I think it really shows up when we're children. If you ask a 7 to 9-year-old, or you look at, I want to say pubescent, which is like 11 to 14, we're shown things, whether it's we're drawn to animals, whether, my daughter was out there when she was like 10, or no, she was like 9. She was out there with a sign, "Stop global warming." I was like, do you even know what this means? And so are we drawn to art? Is our gift for the world art? What is our gift for the world? And I think that we know and we see and it's always more than one gift. This is not just, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to be this, right? Like we're actually trained that you're going to grow up, you're going to be one thing.
Right.
Okay? We're literally trained that, especially in America in schools. And, but I think that we have callings, whether it be children, whether it be humanity, whatever it is. And I know for me, I understood humanity, and I understood it at a very young age in human latent programming. And then I really wanted to be able to put it into a strategy that fits what I call this 3-dimensional, Planet Earth 101 manifestation. And it was, how do I put this into, because business is business. Doesn't matter what kind of business it is. Business is business. Expansion is expansion. It could be widgets. It could be, TV. It could be anything. Business is business. And so it was, how do I step into playing a bigger game in business with my purpose? Most people don't, they look at it and they go, well, that's a great dream. And yes, someday I'd love to be able to help in this area. And I think that most people don't realize it's very easy for them to turn their passion and their purpose into a business, because passion will bring the mechanics. Again, too many times, and I love that this is Dream Bigger, because, the truth is we get passionate about something, but where we talk ourselves out of it also is the mechanics. Mm-hmm. I need this for that, all that kind of stuff. And the truth is, passion will bring the mechanics, and it will bring the light that draws other people into what your cause is. Matter of fact, you'll know when your cause is clear because other people will see it before it's ever tangible. Mm-hmm. And I love that most people just don't spend a lot of time on, as you said, that I love the Dream Bigger, dreaming big enough.
Right.
They play small, and, we're not here to play small. We're here to make a difference. I mean, if people are listening to this, they're drawn to making a difference
Right.
on the face of this planet. And they see it. They just don't know how to expand it sometimes. And so I think for me, one of the biggest things was going, through the understanding humanity and feeling this calling to going, okay, how do I put some of these strategies into place to be able to really grow my purpose here on this planet and be able to manifest things to expand it? Because I can help a lot more people with money than I can without it.
Right. Absolutely. It's just a tool.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. And then, so you are the precise how-to girl for designing people's own success. So what are the how-tos?
I feel like sometimes I am the how-to girl. It's so funny. Well, I think one of the things is, be open. Be open to collaboration. Be open to hearing where your limits are. One of the things that I'm constantly doing is I'm constantly pushing myself to the edge of my limits and until my knees shake a little bit. Now, not like I'm a lemming. I'm not jumping over the edge going, I don't know how I'm going to eat tomorrow. Okay. However, and so I don't want people to do that either. But at the same time, what are your limits? What are your limits, financially? What are your limits vulnerability-wise with relationships? What are your limits in regards to the stuff you have? I mean, that's even financially, what do you want? Where's the limits? Where's your edge? It's so funny. In one of my books, I wrote a story about my daughter. My daughter was 10 years old and she was selling cookies. Well, she thought she lost $100. And she went, And, she's kind of looking around, but you could tell she wasn't like really free. And then all of a sudden I counted the money again. I looked at her, I said, well, Cheyenne, you realize you lost $250. That was it. When she thought it was $250, she had reached her limit. She had reached her edge. So she was ripping the living room apart, all the pillows, all the everything, just ripping it all apart. And I'm laughing. And I go, wow, that's her limit. That's her edge. And so I think, as a human being, knowing our limits and knowing our edges is very important. So many times we're looking out there, but I can't get to B if I don't know where A is.
Yeah.
So we got to be really honest with ourselves and with our team or our people that we're around, which we'll get to that in a minute because that's really important. But, where point A is. We're kind of programmed that we're supposed to have it all together.
Yeah.
That we're not supposed to show that we're new at something. That we're not supposed to show that we're unversed in an area. A lot of times, right, we're supposed to be these super people. And if we're unversed, we're like, well, I'm going to go teach myself the internet. Well, we're website programming. I would be here my entire life if I tried to teach myself website programming. It's just not how my brain works. It's not where I'm natural. It's not where I'm good.
Right.
And so you got to live where you're natural. You got to live where you're good. And that's your zone. If it's people, then it's people. If it's mechanics, it's mechanics. If it's whatever it is, that's where you should live. And it's not as hard. I shouldn't say hard because it still can be hard. But it's a little more enjoyable because it's your forte and then allowing others to do their forte on your team. I think one of the really important things is having people around you that see you bigger than you see yourself.
Absolutely.
And that allow you that place of expansion so that when I doubt if I can do things, they look at me and they go, yeah, you can. And I'm like, I don't know. And I have those moments too. We all have those moments. We all have those moments where our knees shake. And we wonder, and when you live on your edge, whether it's a little bit financially or a little bit vulnerability wise in relationships or whatever it is, that's what becomes the norm. Well, then you got a new edge.
Yep.
Then you have a new edge. It's funny, and I'm talking about my daughter a lot. I just dropped her off at college, but she says, Mom, I'm scared and I'm excited all in the same breath. I go, that's what your life should be like.
Exhilarating.
It should be like you're fully alive in the moment and you're looking at it and you're like, I'm on the edge.
Yeah.
I'm growing. I'm expanding in whether it be my vulnerability or my trust levels of relationships or whatever it is. Could be, like I said, it could be in, our money or what we're doing. And so it's definitely, making friends with that feeling. Because I said to her, I go, do you want the good news or bad news? And I always love to hear, what people say. Do they like the good news or the bad news? Not that either one is good or bad. However, it's what we correlate to it. I said, the bad news is that you're going to feel that way again. The good news is you can recognize it and keep stepping into it. And that's okay. And knowing that this is going to become the norm, and then you're going to push it out a little bit more. Mm-hmm. So, that's where I like to play.
Yeah, such a powerful place to play from. Oh, I love that.
Absolutely. And being in the moment. Being in the moment is really important. I find that, when I wasn't in the moment, I was missing a lot of my journey.
Yeah.
And we really don't have, we can't live in yesterday, even if we try. And we can plan for tomorrow, but we're not living in tomorrow. And I always say, people go, but we're the future. And I'm like, no, we're the now.
Yeah.
We're the moment. We're now. And it's what we truly have. And so many times we're working towards the future, whether it be in work or whatever it is, that we forget sometimes to really enjoy the journey. Mm-hmm. To really go, I'm going to go and I'm going to sit outside and I'm going to look at this rose and I'm going to smell it. I mean, it sounds so corny, but it's so true. Mm-hmm. Or, I'm really going to enjoy whatever it is I'm eating, and I feel blessed to be eating it. And, or whatever it is, or the people in our lives that we're engaging in, that we're 100% present.
Right.
We have no guarantees for tomorrow. We only have a guarantee for today. And I believe, that we should be living fulfilling lives. And in order to have fulfilling lives, we have to be engaged in our life.
Yes.
Not on automatic pilot.
No.
Because that is that human latent programming. We get programmed for habits. We are habitual creatures by nature. So we can be on our habit little, treadmill, little gerbil wheel, and not even realize that 3 years just went by. Mm-hmm. Instead of dictating, well, how do I want my life to be in a year? How do I want my life to be in 6 months? And life ebbs and flows. And so we need to reevaluate every once in a while what our habits are. Are they serving us? Are they not serving us? You get in a new relationship, they see people go, I don't have time. You get in a new relationship, suddenly you got time. You want to go to dinner? Yeah, that sounds great. People just all of a sudden, where did that time come from? I don't know, it just fell out of the sky. No, it didn't. You made a conscious choice to maneuver your time and to run your time, not have time run you.
Absolutely.
So, and that's that engagement of the moment, and of looking, when we're going to look ahead, that's fine. What's the ebb and flow of where our life is? Are we starting a new business? Are we starting a new journey? Are we starting a new relationship? How do we shift accordingly to be able to have what we want to have at that moment in time and what we're going into in our lives?
And that's something that you do on a regular basis. How often do you do that audit on your life?
I do that about every 3 months.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, when I don't do it, I get about 4 months down the road and I'm like, wait a minute here. Because, I'm constantly expanding and constantly challenging myself and in different areas. And so, I really have to do it. If by the time I get to like 4 months, I'm really reminded because I start to feel like I don't have enough time. Like, especially if people feel like they don't have enough time in their day, then they really need to do it. Or I look at it and I go, wow, I've gotten away from going to the gym. I want to go to the gym again. I need to allocate that back into my schedule. Or I'm starting a new business, or I just started a new film studio, Phoenix Flight Films. And so I was like, okay, I start this new film studio. Well, then some of my time has to be allocated for that.
Right.
Now it's built. Now I'm like, okay, let me reallocate.
Right.
And so I think that that's some of the stuff I entice everybody to do it. Every 3 or 4 months, take a look. Where do I want to be in another 3 or 4 months? Where am I at right now, and where do I want to be, and how do I shift that time?
And I think it also helps people see that life is flexible and that we don't have to have just this one necessary purpose that we're doing in our lives. We can do all the things we've ever wanted to do and shift our attention when need be. But life is flexible and it constantly shifts and moves. And I think that's such a great process to look at that every 3 or 4 months.
Absolutely, because it does shift and move. We've been trained. Telling you, we've been trained to be habitual creatures.
Yeah.
I mean, we are by nature, but we're also kind of trained. Get up at 7 in the morning, go to school at 8, be home by 3, do your homework, have a snack, watch TV or whatever, go outside, have dinner, go to bed.
Yep.
And then we grow up and we're like, okay, go to work at 9, get off at 5, watch, have dinner, watch TV, go to bed. Or whatever it is, I don't want to just pick on TV.
But gadgets, iPads, iPhones.
But iPads, oh my gosh, these things. These things, and our kids are getting so trained with these things, it's unbelievable to me.
Yeah, keep them away from our kids.
Unbelievable to me. Yeah.
Well, it's been such a pleasure having you on the interview with me today on the Dare to Dream Bigger Summit. And I understand that you have a free gift for everyone to take part in. Did you want to share a little bit about that?
I do. I have a free gift for you, and I'm very excited because I want to hear from people, and it's a free webinar that we do and some downloadables and some great things for you to be able to, one, allocate your time and be able to really run with it, and manifesting mastery. Manifesting your purpose into fruition here on the face of the planet in a bigger way. And really a safe umbrella, which I love, for people to really not only be able to identify how to maneuver their purpose out into the face of the planet, but action steps that you can take to, there's that how-to thing again, right? Of how to bringing it into manifestation where you can turn it into a business. Any purpose can be turned into a business that will serve.
Yes.
And a man or woman is always paid in direct proportion to the service they render mankind. And so, I'm excited to be able to share, that the manifestation mastery with you and the things that you can do in your life with the bigger picture in mind and actually start stepping into it. So thank you.
Thank you for that. I think that's a wonderful gift. Do you have any parting words of wisdom for our audience?
I do, and that is dream bigger.
Yes.
We are not here to play small. We are not cookie cutter people. We're all gifted individuals, and the world is waiting for your gifts and your talents.
Yes. I dare you to dream bigger. Thanks so much, Shellie.
Thank you.
Take care.